What's up, people? Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. It's been an absolutely glorious day here in the UK, so I've been sat out in the garden working on my laptop. Got an absolutely massive show for you all this evening, so please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new, and let's jump straight on into it. So on the show this evening, we've got a bit of an update on Sophie and Amrabat, which I think a lot of you are going to like. We've also got a bit of an update on the Harry Maguire deal. Obviously, there was a story coming out earlier on today saying that apparently the Harry Maguire to West Ham deal was off. We've got a bit of an update on that, and it is actually a little bit more positive than we maybe thought. We've also got a bit of an update on Benjamin Pavard. There's also a story coming out about the takeover, which I'm going to leave right to the very end because some of this takeover stuff now is just so tiresome. So we'll talk about that right at the end. We've also got a bit of an update on Benjamin Pavard. We've got an update on a couple of new signings we've bought for the youth academy. And we've got an update on a few players who look set to leave the club as well. People like Dean Henderson, Eric Bailly, Brandon Williams. We've had a bit of interest on them today, so we will talk about that. Let's jump straight on into it, though. Let's start off with Harry Maguire. So obviously we spoke earlier on today about Harry Maguire supposedly not moving to West Ham and the deal being off. So we've had a bit of clarity on that. And it's coming up from Simon Stone, who's, of course, a very, very good journalist for the BBC here in the UK. And he says it is possible that the deal with West Ham for Harry Maguire could be revived. But for the moment, it is regarded as stalled as David Moyes is looking at alternatives. It goes on to say that West Ham have received no word back from Harry Maguire about when the deal can be completed, even though it had been felt he was willing to make the move to them. So all of the issues here lie down to this wage thing. It really, really is. There is a bit of a positivity, though. So this has come out in the last half an hour. And there's a story coming out saying that apparently Harry Maguire is happy to make the move to West Ham, but he wants his wages to be covered. So he's kicking up a fuss. He's kicking his heels in the dirt. He doesn't want to go unless he's given his money. I know some of you are upset of that. Some of you in the comment section have said, I don't blame him. He wants his money. You know, he's entitled to it. I'm kind of in the middle of it. I do get it. You know, if we've promised him all of this money, then we should just give it to him. I just think the issue is, if you give Harry Maguire all of this money, are you not then setting a precedent for the future? Every single player who leaves Manchester United is going to say, I want the money as well. Do you see where I'm going with this? It's not like he's being thrown out of the club, you know, and being told to go and live on the streets. He's going from 200 grand a week to 100 grand a week. He's still going to be, you know, a very well-paid footballer. And I assume that West Ham would offer him like a 4 or 5 year contract, you know? So if you actually look at it black and white, he's got 2 years left on his current deal, whereas West Ham might be offering him a 4 or 5 year deal. Yes, it's less money, but overall, he's kind of guaranteed a little bit more, if that makes sense. And Samuel Luckhurst put out something really interesting earlier on today that I really liked. So Samuel Luckhurst was talking about Harry Maguire, and he said, Manchester United shouldn't have to pay off a player to leave, particularly when he's due to leave for a fee. Just because he faces a drop-off in wages at a club, that's on the player, hardly a case of pleading poverty. I thought that was really good. I do. I know some people think Samuel Luckhurst reporting is a little bit off sometimes, but I think that was a really, really good way of looking at it. You know, he's going from one great football club to another. I know West Ham isn't the same level, but £100,000 a week he's going to be paid at West Ham. Like, that's decent. That's decent money. That's probably better paid than most of the players in the Premier League. So, you know, it's not like he's going from the Premier League down to the Conference League and he's going to be on £1,000 a week and he's going to have to be eating beans out of a tin for the rest of his life. You know, he's still going to be a multi-millionaire. And if he has any sense of pride in himself and in his footballing career, obviously he would get this move done. It does look like Manchester United will have to cough up the money, and I honestly think that this story that's come out today is just a negotiation tactic. I think it's a way of forcing Manchester United's hand. It's a way of, you know, Harry Maguire saying to them, well, if you want me to go, you've got to pay me. And West Ham also know that that is the situation. So the only way that he goes is if they pay him, you know. And it goes on to say, this is coming out from another journalist in the UK, and it says, Harry Maguire wants to sort out his compensation settlement with Manchester United before his transfer, and the club need to replace him first. It goes on to say, unless there are positive steps in the next couple of days, West Ham will move on to other targets. So let's be clear, at the moment, the deal isn't completely off. It's on pause. It's on pause. West Ham are looking at other targets now. But remember, they've had a bid accepted for Harry Maguire. They've had this deal. They want Harry Maguire. He's their number one target. They've had an offer accepted of £30 million. All that needs to happen is Manchester United need to pay Harry Maguire the money he wants. I know some of you are going to be screaming at your screen saying, don't you dare give Harry Maguire another penny. But if we want him out of the club, that's the only way he's going to go at this point. We have to bite the bullet. We have to give him the money. There's still a bit of uncertainty around how much the money's going to be. We had one report coming out earlier on saying it was 7, another report saying 10, another report saying 15. So it's somewhere between 7 and 15 million pounds is how much he's asking for. The latest story we've seen about an hour or so ago is saying it's around 10. Do Manchester United just go to him and say, we'll give you 5? Maybe they can get something done for a slightly lower fee. Maybe Harry Maguire wants the full 10. We don't know at this point. But from my perspective, we definitely need to get this deal done. The only issue is, how do we then go and get someone like Benjamin Pavard? How do we then go and get someone like Jean-Claire Todibo? Because at the beginning, when it was 30 million, I thought, great, you can go and buy someone as a replacement with that. But if, you're having to give Harry Maguire 10, maybe 15 million of that money, it makes it really, really difficult to go and get a solid replacement. We will be talking about Benjamin Pavard in a minute, and I know most of you in the chat don't even want this player, but wait until you hear the current price that's being touted for Benjamin Pavard. And let's be honest, Jean-Claire Todibo is going to cost you 35, 40 million pounds. And if you're having to give Harry Maguire half of the money we're getting for his transfer, then how are we going to go and do that deal? I was thinking about this earlier though, and I wanted to bring this to the chat and get you guys' opinion. I genuinely would, at this stage, be happy if we sell Harry Maguire for 30 million, say we have to give him 10 million, we bite the bullet, we give him 10 million, and then we go and spend the rest of that money on Taremi from Porto. Because I honestly think that Lindelof, Luke Shaw is the backup left back, the left-sided centre-back as the backup. I think that's fine. You've got 4 good defenders there, really, really solid. Maybe you promote somebody from the youth academy, maybe you bring somebody through. I think that would be good enough. But do let me know in the comment section what you think about that one. Do you think that's enough? I think we can get away with not buying another centre-back this season. Maybe you even keep Johnny Evans. I know Johnny Evans isn't great, but is he any worse than Harry Maguire? I'm not sure. Let Harry Maguire go. Get him off the wage bill. Give him his 10 million. Give him whatever he wants. That would still leave us with about 20 million pounds from his kind of transfer fee. Go and buy yourself a striker. Get Taremi from Porto. Give Johnny Evans a contract for 1 season. And I think we're sorted. I think we're fine. So for me, that's what I would do. But obviously Eric Ten Hag wants to bring in a replacement. He wants to bring in someone like Benjamin Pavard. He wants to bring in Jean-Claire Todibo. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that we need to do that. I think we just need to get Harry Maguire out of the club. I think he's just bringing too much toxicity. And for me, him being here it's just causing so much upset amongst the fans, and we need people at the club who actually want to be here and who actually are good enough to fight for their place. And Harry Maguire isn't good enough. He isn't. So for me, that's what I would do. But let me know in the comment section, what do you think would be the best option for Maguire? Obviously, be sensible about it. Don't just say, get him out of my club. Like, actually think about it logically. What would you do if you were Manchester United now? Would you give him his 10 million that he wants? Or would you say, no, we're going to keep you on the bench. We're going to stick you in the reserves. Like, what would you do? Let me know in the comment section, because I always like to see what you guys have to say about this. So John says, pay Harry what he wants because it's adding a sour taste and we can all move on then in a positive direction. I like that, John. That's exactly what I'm saying. We just need to get this situation resolved in a positive manner and move on into the future. Maybe give Johnny Evans a 1-year contract just as the backup. He'll be 4th or 5th choice centre-back. Give him that option. That gives Eric Ten Hag a bit of certainty into the next season. And I'm happy with that. Somebody else is saying, no, we need a new centre-back. Rafael Varane is injury prone and Martinez will have a card issues and will have to miss games. I hear you, mate. I do. But what if we give Johnny Evans the contract for 1 season? I think that's fine for 1 season. I think Johnny Evans is experienced. I don't think he's any worse than Harry Maguire. Give him a contract for 1 season and we can move on then in a positive manner. Because at the end of the day, what needs to happen this season, guys, is we need to have a positive mentality around the club. That's the absolutely essential thing here, because last season there was Cristiano Ronaldo, there was the stuff with Sancho. Obviously there's the takeover stuff. This season we need to just focus on football. We don't need every press conference the manager being asked, what's going on with Maguire? Is he going to get played? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I just don't want to have to talk about that ever again. So for me, I would just take the bullet. I'd give him the money, get him out of the club, and yeah, reinvest that money in a striker, because we're not going to get the centre-back we all want for the amount of money we're going to get from Maguire, unfortunately. But let me know on that one and we will move on to the next topic. Let's talk about Sofian Amrabat. Now, this is obviously one that a lot of you are really, really excited about, me included. Now, There's a story coming out from Repubblica, which is a newspaper in Italy. It's got 2.5 million followers on Twitter, and they are reporting that Manchester United are now set to officially make a bid for Sofyan Amrabat. Personal terms are agreed, and Fiorentina are asking for 30 million euros for the player. Another journalist in Italy, or two journalists in Italy, are reporting Manchester United's long-awaited offer for Sofyan Amrabat will be submitted in the next few hours. This was about 2 hours ago. So we are anticipating this bid to go in today. Obviously, we've got the money in the bank now from Fred. I think it was 10 million euros plus add-ons. And we've also just sold Matches Kovar today for 9 million euros. So we've raised about 15 to 20 million euros in the last kind of week plus add-ons. So we have the money there available to go and get this deal done. Obviously, if you then factor in all of the wages we've removed and all the rest of it. We did a video on this the other day, guys, and don't be fooled by this financial fair play thing. We have only spent £90 million this window net spend because we have sold people this window. I know we haven't done great in the selling department, but people have left the club and we've cleared a massive amount of wages. We've just seen Chelsea. Chelsea so far in one season have spent £800 million. And the way they've done it is they've done it over really long contracts. So Manchester United can do this same thing. Manchester United can do exactly the same thing as Chelsea do. Pay off the money over 8 or 9 years or whatever it is. And we could then, be in the same position. So don't be fooled by this whole financial fair play nonsense. It does exist, but there are ways around it. And just remember that. Right, let's have a look. Chai says we missed Fred yesterday. You know what? I'm gonna be very blunt with you. I think Scott McTominay would have done better than Mason Mount yesterday. I think Mason Mount's a good player. I think he works hard, but our midfield got completely sliced open yesterday. It did, and that was because there wasn't anybody to play alongside Casemiro. Casemiro was on his own for 90% of the game. He was literally left stranded in front of those 4 defenders, and Mason Mount and Bruno were halfway up the pitch. They'd get the ball and they'd just run past Casemiro, and that was it. Our midfield was completely done. So maybe McTominay needs to stay because it was a real eye-opener yesterday. I do think Sofyan Amrabat will come in though and will solidify that midfield. I'm definitely confident of that. Somebody says Amrabat is a donkey. I mean, I'm not sure about that, my friend. I'm not. Thomas says, would Wolves have scored the penalty? Possible the goalie would have topped his debut with a great save. I mean, it's completely hypothetical at this point, isn't it? And do you know what's funny? Let me know in the comment section, guys. Do you think it was a penalty last night? I'll give my opinion at the end of the video, but let me know whether you think it was a penalty last night. Jay says Casemiro looked slow and isolated. Yeah, I hear you, he did, but he had no support. He had absolutely zero support, Casemiro, last night. He was really, really struggling. Yeah, he was really, really struggling. And just to be clear as well, I do like Mason Mount. I think he's a good player, but he's too attacking. I said this to you guys many, many times before. Anybody who watches this channel regularly, I've said that Sofyan Amrabat is the most important signing of our whole window. People have thought, what the hell are you talking about? Some people are saying he's rubbish. Some people are saying he's not good enough and all the rest of it. But I genuinely believe that Amrabat will have the most impact on our team out of any of our signings, maybe bar Onana. And the reason for that is because our midfield is weak. Even with Mason Mount signing, our midfield is weak. It is so, so weak. It is. Think about it logically, guys. Last season, we got beat 4-0 by Brentford. We got beat 7-0 by Liverpool. And that was all because our midfield got absolutely dominated. We saw it again last night. So I'm sticking by my stance. Mason Mount's a good player, but I'm not sure whether Mason Mount, Bruno and Casemiro will work as a 3. Because in the Premier League, other teams will have better midfields than that in a kind of more defensive manner. It's a very attacking midfield, but as soon as the ball goes past one of them, you're done for, aren't you? So, yeah, Sofyan Amrabat really, really needs to come in. I'm just not sure at this point whether Mason Mount and Bruno can play together. Maybe against like a Luton at home, maybe. But you can't play Mason Mount and Bruno against Liverpool away. You'll get absolutely battered. I'm telling you, you will. You wait for it. You'll get battered if you go to Arsenal and play Mason Mount and Bruno in the midfield, alongside Casemiro. You need Sofyan Amrabat, and he's absolutely essential. He's the most important signing for us this season. And let's just hope that we get this deal done. We've got 1,000 people watching now, which is absolutely massive. Big ups to everybody in the chat. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're about 30 subscribers away from 12,800, so please do subscribe if you are new to the community. As Jay says, I agree with Jay here. Jay says Amrabat is literally a game changer for us. He is. I agree with you, Jay. Let me know if you agree with me on that point, that Amrabat is our most important signing of the summer. I genuinely think he is. Rasmus Højlund, no one really has expectations of, do they, at this point? Rasmus Højlund, obviously, we're hoping he comes in. I think some people are saying, I think he'll get 15 goals this season in all competitions. Mason Mount, no one really wanted. Onana, obviously, is really great and really exciting, but he can't play in midfield, can he? And our midfield is weak. So yeah, I agree with you, Jay. I really, really do. What else have we got here? So, yeah, quite a lot of people saying we didn't need Mount. I agree with you, but obviously I trust Eric Ten Hag, and if he thinks that Mason Mount is the player we need, then obviously we've got to give him time. We've got to give him, time to work him into his system. But I genuinely think our midfield should be Amrabat, Bruno Fernandes, and Casemiro. I think that's a solid midfield. You're coming up against really, really difficult teams in the Premier League. You can't be playing 2 attacking midfielders in the Premier League. I don't think so. Maybe Manchester City can do it because all of their players are so well drilled. They do the defensive work as well as the attacking work. But at the moment, I don't think we can get away with having both of them in the team. I don't. What have we got? Richie says, I don't agree with all this hype over Amrabat. Not even played in the Premier League. Not all that in the Italian league. I disagree with you. Obviously, you're completely entitled to your opinion, Richie, but I think Amrabat is the real deal. I think he's exactly what we need. He's a workhorse. He's physical. He's very difficult to get past. He's very good at passing. His ball retention is really good. Go and check out his stats on his ball retention. I think he's exactly what we need. He really, really is. And obviously, Eric Ten Hag thinks the same thing. So let's just hope and pray that this deal does happen and this bid does get submitted as is being reported today. Somebody says, can Mason Mount play on the right? I think he has played on the wing before, yeah, but I don't really like having people like that on the wing. I think Jadon Sancho needs to be starting. Jadon Sancho, when he came on yesterday, looked really, really good, I thought. I know it was only a glimpse. I know it was only 15, 20 minutes, but I think he added a lot to our game yesterday, and I think Jadon needs to be starting. I really do. But let me know in the comment section, would you be starting Jadon Sancho going forward? Right, let's move on to the next topic, though. I will come back to the chat in a minute. So we've had a story coming out from Samuel Luckhurst in the Manchester Evening News this afternoon, and he is reporting that apparently Eric Bailly and Brandon Williams have both been told they're free to leave Manchester United permanently. He says Bailly has generated some interest from clubs in Turkey and Saudi Arabia, so it looks like Manchester United are pushing both Eric Bailly and Brandon Williams out of the door. Now, can I just say, I can't believe we're even still talking about Brandon Williams and Eric Bailly. Like, why are they still at the club? We've only got about 2 weeks left of the window and they're still here. They're still being paid by Manchester United. And they're clearly not going to be getting any game time whatsoever. So that one completely confuses me. It really, really does. I would just sell them to anybody. I would. Any money we can get for either of them, get them out of the club, reinvest any of that money in somebody else, or just save that money and spend it next season on a striker or whatever it might be. But both of those people, if they're not gone by the end of the window, that just shows how incompetent we are. Manchester City, as much as we dislike them, they'd probably get 15 to 20 million for both of those players. Some of the fees that Manchester City get for their players are absolutely ridiculous. They just got 20 million plus for a backup goalkeeper from the youth academy that no one's ever heard of. Rakesh says, hi, I've just subscribed. How can I become a member? So anybody who wants to become a member, I've just dropped a link in the chat, or you can just click the join button. So yeah, anybody who wants to join the members club, I've just dropped a link. Jason says we need Thuram from Nice. Yeah, Thuram's a quality player. Jihan says, why are so many people against Mason Mount? I mean, the amount of stuff I've seen on Twitter today saying, like, get Mason Mount out of my club. Like, I'm not in that camp whatsoever. I think Mason Mount's a quality player. I just don't think he works in a midfield three with Bruno and Casemiro. I don't. I just simply don't think it works. Maybe it can work in the future, but at the moment, I don't think it will. What have we got? Someone says Amrabat plus Casemiro equals Camrabat, the combo we all want to see at Old Trafford. Now, I like that. I really, really do. Somebody says, fun fact, Liverpool got the most rejected in this transfer window. 7 players rejected. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Liverpool have not had the best transfer window, have they? Jimmy says Bruno was so poor. Yeah, he was. Let's be fair here. Everybody's slagging off Mason Mount, but Bruno Fernandes was absolutely woeful last night. He was woeful. He wasn't the usual Bruno who puts in an 8 out of 10 every game. I would say all of the players other than the defenders and the goalkeeper were probably like a 4 out of 10 last night. They were all terrible. So we can only improve from here. Let's try and stay positive. Let's hope that we go to the Tottenham game and we give them a real match and we batter them. So yeah, keep that one positive. Right, we've got a bit of an update on Dean Henderson for you though. So Samuel Luckhurst, again, Manchester Evening News is reporting that the Nottingham Forest assistant manager was at the game last night and he spoke to John Murtough on Monday evening amid the club's interest in re-signing Dean Henderson. He's gone on to say that Ten Hag has indicated Henderson would now stay at the club as Tom Heaton is sidelined with a calf injury. So It looks like Dean Henderson will be staying at Manchester United. I know that's caused a bit of mixed emotions. Sky Sports are also reporting that as it stands, Dean Henderson will remain at Manchester United this summer unless a replacement becomes available. Henderson is an important member of the squad, and now even more so due to Tom Heaton's injury. So we've spoken about Dean Henderson a little bit before. Obviously, I appreciate that a lot of people are done with him and they want him out just because of how he spoke about Manchester United and all the rest of it. But at the moment, I think we have way more problems than Dean Henderson. We need to sort out our midfield. We need to make our attack click. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, get Dean Henderson out of my club. I just don't really think it makes any difference at this stage. I don't. We need midfielders. We need probably more attackers. Spending any more money on a goalkeeper at this point would be a complete waste, in my opinion. But let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Do you think Dean Henderson should be sent away? It's only going to be a loan move. Remember, it'll be a loan move, and we'd then have to go and buy another goalkeeper. So it makes zero sense. William in the chat says Varane was awful as well. That goal is blinding you all. I thought the defence did quite well. I thought Wan-Bissaka was good. I thought Luke Shaw was all right. I think all the defensive players did good, and Onana did really good as well. So I'm not going to start slagging off the defenders because we didn't concede a goal. We probably should have conceded a couple, but I thought they were all right. Somebody says United were really bad, but it is 3 points at the end of the day. Yeah, 100%. That's the most important thing. And James says everyone was woeful last night until the substitutions. Yeah, that was it, isn't it? Somebody else says Eric Ten Hag's never satisfied. He will fix this circumstances. This is better start instead of last year. Yeah, just remember that, all right, everybody. When everyone's getting really upset about it. Last season, we lost the first 2 games in a row. I was at the Brighton game, the first game of the season, and it was absolutely woeful, and we lost. We then go and get battered by Brentford the week after. And just remember back to that feeling. When we lost 4-0 against Brentford last year, I felt so personally hurt. I thought I invest so much time and mental energy into this club, and they've gone and lost 4-0 to Brentford. Absolute bottle job. So we've won the game. Let's just all try and keep a bit of positivity going, and let's hope we go and batter Tottenham next week. Big ups to Jimmy, who has just gifted a membership to the Daily Red Devils Members Club. Whoever gets the membership, please do make sure you thank Jimmy. And if you do want to join the Members Club, I'm going to drop a link in the chat to do that. It looks like Andrew's got the membership, so big ups to Jimmy. Big T says, how long does the manager get a free pass? We need to be looking at some of his decisions and lack them down. I mean, I'm not going to start slagging off Eric Ten Hag. If you genuinely think last night's performance was on Eric Ten Hag, I don't think it was. It's the players. It's mentality. It is. Like, do you genuinely think that last night you can blame Eric Ten Hag for that? Like, how? I don't know. I mean, the only thing, if I'm going to be overly critical, is you could say, well, why did he sign Mason Mount? It clearly doesn't work in that midfield. That's the only bit of criticism I would maybe lobby towards Eric Ten Hag. But I'm not going to sit here and slag off his tactics, because last season I expected us to get 6th or 7th. And that was before we lost the first 2 games of the season. I genuinely thought last season we would get 6th or 7th. And that was before we lost against Brentford and Brighton. We got 3rd and we won a trophy and we got to another final. Eric Ten Hag deserves our respect. I think at the end of the season we can maybe, start giving a bit of a review of the last season, but I'm not going to sit here after one game and blame Eric Ten Hag for the players not, being up to speed. I'm just simply not going to do that. I'm not that type of person. I'm not a reactionary type of person. So yeah, you're not going to get that out of me. Right, let's move on to the next topic though. Let's keep things going. Just a really quick one on the penalty situation. So apparently the officials for last night's game have been dropped from the refereeing team. So the VAR, the referee, apparently they're not going to referee next weekend. They've been dropped. I don't know. It did look like a penalty, didn't it? But anyway, it's over. We won the game. Right, let's talk about Benjamin Pavard then. So as you guys all know, this is now coming out from multiple stories in the UK saying that Benjamin Pavard will now not join Manchester United unless Harry Maguire leaves. And it goes on to say that United are struggling to agree a payoff with Maguire. So unless Harry Maguire goes, obviously Benjamin Pavard's not going to come. But that's kind of obvious, so I don't really know. There's another story though as well that says Benjamin Pavard has apparently taken explosive steps to force a move to Manchester United. He has caused a stir at Bayern Munich by commenting and liking all of the Manchester United players last night, including the Manchester United account. He followed that up by liking several posts on United's Instagram. So if anybody missed that after the game last night, Benjamin Pavard was literally going crazy on social media. He was commenting on Manchester United posts, liking the posts. He was commenting on Varane's post. He's absolutely desperate to come to Manchester United, is Benjamin Pavard. So obviously that's a good sign if you want him to come to the club. But until this Maguire mess gets sorted out, it's kind of irrelevant really, isn't it? Like, we know that Maguire needs to go in order for Benjamin Pavard to come. And at this stage, the key thing is to get Maguire out of the club. It is. I wish him all the best. I hope he goes and has a good career. You know, I'm not going to sit here and start, you know, any hate speech towards him, but he needs to go. Right, where are we? Let's have a read of a few more comments quickly. So there is a bit of an update coming out around the takeover. I mean, some of these journalists who come out of this stuff, I just wonder why they bother sometimes. So Ben Jacobs has been doing an interview today. I'm not sure who it was, but it was on YouTube. I just watched it. And he's apparently saying that Qatar are not ready yet to buy the club. He says sources close to the selling side are adamant that Qatar are not yet ready. And I watched the video, and he was ultimately saying that apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe is ready to buy the club. You know, he's done everything he needs to do behind the scenes. He's ready to push the button, but apparently Qatar are not ready. I mean, how can Qatar not be ready? This process has been going on since what? Was it November last year? 8 months? 9 months? How on earth could he come out saying that Qatar are not ready? I just think it's rubbish. I really, really do. And I don't know where he gets his information from. Like, I just think it's weird. I really, really do. And I think there is maybe a slight agenda towards it. What are people saying? What are people saying in the chat? Let me have a quick look at everyone's saying. William says Ten Hag is the best thing we've had as a manager since Alex Ferguson. He'll turn this team around. Trust the guy. Yeah, I agree with you. I do. Richie says Ten Hag needs to be more tactically aware. We were getting swamped in our midfield. We should have switched to a 4-4-2. Yeah, I agree with you. But as I said earlier on in the video, Mason Mount and Bruno are attacking midfielders. They're not very good at defending, are they? So even if we'd have switched to that, would it have made a massive difference? Maybe you could have argued that Scott McTominay should have come on. Maybe you know. We don't really have a defensive midfielder. That's why we need Amrabat. That's, you know, you're answering your own question. You know, you're saying we don't want Amrabat. I don't think he's good enough. But yeah. Yeah, as everybody's saying in the chat, I don't believe this thing that's come out from Ben Jacobs. I just don't really understand. Every single week he does an interview, doesn't he? Every single week he makes out that he has new information about the takeover. And it's always that, oh, Qatar are not ready. It's just like, where are you getting this information from? And why are you just saying it over and over again? Because it's just frustrating. And you know, everybody wants a conclusion on this takeover thing. I know everybody's talking about football now, and it's positive that people are actually starting to enjoy football and we have it back again. I know last night wasn't positive, but yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Lumen says, Kieran, why are you so positive? What's the secret? Look, to be honest with you, all right, I just don't see the point in being massively negative. If you watched my match review last night, I said it was an absolute joke, 4 out of 10, terrible. So that's not positive, is it? But in the grand scheme of things, you know, me sitting here swearing at the camera saying, get Harry Maguire out of my club and effing and R-ing, like, what does that really achieve? It just makes me stressed out. It probably makes you stressed out. It probably doesn't help anybody. So I don't really see the point in it. Yeah. It's a rocky road supporting Manchester United. We all know that. Big T says, the manager is picking and playing Bruno and Mount in the first place. When will the penny drop? Yeah, I mean, that's the bit that I will disagree with. Sorry, I will agree with. Yeah, I don't think we should be playing Mason, Mount and Bruno in the same team. Unless it's against a championship team or against the bottom of the Premier League team, you know? Against the Luton at home. Yeah, everybody in the chat's just laughing. Qatar aren't ready. I mean, what a load of crap. Somebody says, seriously, Ben Jacobs is the reliable person when it comes to the takeover. I don't think he is. I really don't. Like, let me ask you this, all right? Big ups to Ben Jacobs. Fair play to him. He's putting in work. He's grinding. You know, I'm never going to slag someone off who's grinding hard, and he's obviously really, really capitalized on this whole takeover situation. But how many of you in this chat had heard of him before the takeover started? Let me know in the comment section. I bet not a single one of you had ever heard of this man. I'm not saying that doesn't mean he's not reliable and he doesn't get information from somewhere, but you know, if it was coming out from Fabrizio, if Fabrizio had just said that Qatar weren't ready to take over the club, every single person in the world would stop and listen. Whereas he said this on a YouTube video And it's just a bit like, what are you basing this on? It's just hypothetical, I think. You know, he's just, yeah. Malp says this club has made the fans negative. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do. Imagine what the change will be if new owners come in. I think it will completely change everyone's mentality. It will completely change everyone's mindset. And that's exactly what needs to happen. We really, really need to do that. Somebody says, Ben, who? Yeah, exactly. I do. Jimmy, well, Jimmy's positive in the chat. Jimmy's saying, we will beat Spurs 3-0. I'll take that. I mean, if we beat Spurs 3-0, I'll be absolutely buzzing. And I think we will go out and we think we will have a good performance. Right, but let's crack on with something else. For anybody who missed the little video we did earlier on, Manchester United played a behind-the-scenes pre-season, whatever you want to call it, friendly, earlier on against Everton at Carrington. Now, we can confirm that people like Anthony Martial played, Donny van de Beek played, Scott McTominay played, and even Harry Maguire played. Scott McTominay scored the goal, and there was also an own goal for Everton. So it looks like Manchester United are trying to get these other fringe players back to full fitness. And do you know what's really good? Anthony Martial played, and he didn't get injured. So that's really positive. I know that sounds stupid, and you know, maybe you think I'm holding on to eggshells or whatever the saying is, but it's good that Anthony Martial's got some minutes in his legs, even if that means that we're getting him out of the club, even if that means that we're hoping he's going to get some game time this season. He's played after 3-4 months of being injured, and he's actually managed to stay the whole game without getting injured. So that is good, isn't it? We've got over 1,000 of you in the chat now. Big ups to everybody who is watching this evening. Please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe if you are new. And let's crack on with the rest of the show. What have we got? What's been said? RJ says Ben Jacobs is a robot. William says, everyone expected Wolves to be a walk in the park, and so did Ten Hag and the boys. It backfired badly, learning curve. Yeah, if you actually look at the last 10 results against Wolves, it's either been 0-0 or 1-0. We never batter Wolves. I don't know why I was so confident that we were going to batter them. Maybe that was me just being stupid. Maybe that was me just, spreading false hope. But I genuinely did think we were going to go and batter Wolves. But then if you actually look at it statistically, if I was like a gambler, I would have known that the last 10 games against Wolves have been 0-0 or 1-0, It was always going to be a tight match. And for us to come out with the points, that's all that matters, isn't it, at the end of the day? We've got to go on, we've got to improve, and we've got to now go and beat Tottenham. If we beat Tottenham and then we beat Nottingham Forest at home, that's 9 points from our first 3 games. That would be a really positive start, because we only got 3 points from our last 9 games last season. And all we can do is improve our points tally from last season. That would be improvement. So, yeah, let's just... Right, somebody says, what score do you predict at the Emirates against Arsenal? I think the Arsenal game will be very difficult. I think it will be a draw. Yeah. Fred says, did I hear you right? Bruno and Mason Mount can't play together. Well, where does Mount play then? That's my question. That's just my opinion. You might disagree, but last night the proof is in the pudding. Mason Mount, Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro as a midfield three got completely overrun. They did. There's no debating it. Last season, it would have been Eriksen playing there, or Scott McTominay, or Fred and Bruno. Neither Mason Mount or Bruno Fernandes was supporting Casemiro, and he was just left completely on his own, isolated. And the Wolves players were running through our midfield like it didn't even exist. So, yeah. Malp says we were extremely lucky. Yeah, we were. We got a bit of luck last night. We did. And we've just got to take it. We do. Somebody says last night was a disgrace. So someone says no Maguire means no Pavard. Yeah, we need to get rid of Maguire in order to buy Pavard. If we don't sell Maguire, we will not be buying Pavard. That's the gist of it. The Cabin says first game syndrome. I'm expecting a 5-0 win against Tottenham. I mean, that's positive, isn't it? They haven't got Harry Kane. It's their first game at home against the season. Let's go to there and absolutely batter them. Yeah, I mean, somebody else is being pretty level-headed here. Someone says last year Wolves destroyed Liverpool 4-0. Wolves played well last night. They did. I genuinely think that was the best I've ever seen Wolves in my whole life. I've been on this planet for 29 years, and that was the best I've ever seen Wolves play ever. They were good. Let's just be fair to them. They were good last night. We weren't. So we got away with it. We got the victory. Onana looked good. Other than that, it was an absolute disgrace. It was. So fair play to Wolves, and I'm sure the Wolves fans are absolutely gutted this morning. Malp says, why is Harry Maguire still at the club? It is truly unbelievable stuff. Mate, if I knew the answer to that question, if I knew the answer to why Ed Woodward gave him such a big contract, I would be I would probably be working at Manchester United, you know? That was the only way I would have that information. Yeah, as Mark says, you know, Wolves were fantastic last night, and credit to them. We've got to give credit where it was due. We were very lucky. But yeah, let's move on with some more topical news. I will come back to the chat in a minute, so do get your comments in, do get your chats in. Do put the letter Q before your message, and I will try and read out as many as possible before the show ends. We've got about 20 minutes left of the show. I'm going to do an hour-long show tonight, guys, because the recent shows have been a bit shorter just because we've been doing so much content. You know, last night I didn't want to do an hour show and then do a watch along for 3 hours. So we will do our hour long show tonight, guys. So do get your comments in, and I will read out as many as possible, just to make up for a little bit of a slow couple of days on the usual shows. Right, let's see where we are on everything. So a little bit of positivity. Now, I know most of you probably don't care about this, but Manchester United have confirmed the signings of both Darren Fletcher, sons, Jack and Tyler. They have gone straight into the youth academy, and also Harry Maguire from Watford. So all three of them have gone into the official squad for the Manchester United academy. Apparently his twin sons are really, really good. I watched a couple of videos on them. I watched a couple of scout reports, and they look decent. So let's wish them all the best. Let's hope that these players do well, and let's hope that we see both of those Fletcher brothers in the Manchester United squad in the next couple of in the next maybe 3 to 5 years. Let's be realistic. We've got a little bit of an update on injury situations as well. We're still waiting to find out whether Lisandro Martinez will be available for the game against Tottenham on Saturday. Obviously, he went off injured yesterday with what was believed to be an ankle injury. Erik ten Hag will be doing his press conference on Friday this week. So as soon as we get the update on that, of course, we will bring it to you. But I think he's going to be all right. I do. He was brought off for precautionary measures. Malp says, are we going to do any business this week? I honestly, I think Sufyan Amrabat will come in this week. I really, really do. I think he has to. If he doesn't come in this week, then it's an absolute disgrace. It really, really is. We've got all of the Italian press saying that a bid's about to be submitted. He's waiting. He's not going to keep waiting. If we don't get him this week, then I think we're off. If we're sat here this time next week and he hasn't joined, I think it's as good as gone. Someone says, do you think Mount have any meaningful reason in the squad? We only need Amrabat. We need someone like him with Casemiro, free Bruno up front. We should have taken Kovacic instead of him. It's too early to judge Mason Mount, all right? He's played one game of football for us. All I'm saying is, at the moment in time, I think that Mason Mount and Bruno are both competing for the same position. And I think Amrabat and Casemiro should be our midfield too, with either Mason Mount or Bruno as the centre attacking midfielder. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Bruno can't play every single match of every single game. And that's what I would do. Obviously, I'm not the manager, but let me know what you think about that one in the comment section, guys. Do you think Mason Mount and Bruno can play in a midfield together? Irvin says, when Erik ten Hag realises Rashford, Sancho, Bruno, Eriksen, and the list goes on, are not Manchester United level, how many rival clubs will go for them? Well, I think you could sell Rashford, you could sell Sancho, you could sell Bruno. Obviously, Eriksen, probably not, but I think our players do have value. I do, you know? You would get probably, put it this way, right? If Manchester City are willing to pay over 100 million for Lucas Paquetá, who's had one season in the Premier League and did pretty average, Bruno Fernandes is worth more than him. Let's be honest here. It's one game, all right? If we go out and absolutely batter Tottenham on Saturday, everybody's going to be happy again. So let's just try and be realistic. Let's not be too dramatic. I did want to talk a little bit about not Romeo Lavia, about Amadou Onana. And I wanted to get you guys' opinions, actually. I wanted you to let me know whether you would go for Onana or if you would go for Amrabat. Let me know in the comment section who would be your preferred option. Gary Neville has been speaking earlier on this afternoon. He was asked about Sofyan Amrabat, and he was asked about whether he thought he would be a good player to bring to Manchester United. And Gary Neville had this following to say. He says, Manchester United are trying to sign Sofyan Amrabat, we believe, to go in there alongside Casemiro. I don't know who Erik ten Hag would drop, but they want to buy Amrabat for a reason. One thing that Erik ten Hag is not going to do is go back to the likes of Fred and McTominay, who he believes are technically not good enough on the ball. He wants everybody in the team to be able to accept the football and receive it. Amrabat coming in, he is a passer of the ball and can sit in there alongside Casemiro. Casemiro got absolutely torn to shreds tonight. United's midfield were non-existent and they were absolutely ripped apart. Wolves were absolutely fantastic. United's midfield was non-existent. It emptied. Yeah, and that's why we need Amrabat. It's as simple as that. That is why we need Amrabat. Just a really quick one. Now, this is probably just a bit of a stupid one, but some of you in the chat were asking about, could we sign Neymar? Will Neymar come to Manchester United? Neymar is officially going to Saudi Arabia, so Neymar will not be coming to Manchester United. I assume most of you knew that that was never going to happen, but there has been a few people messaging me asking, would you take Neymar at Manchester United? And my answer's always been no. He's going to Al Hilal. They're going to pay him $300 million over 2 years. Mental money, and I'm glad we didn't go anywhere near that deal. So someone's asking about Jean-Claire Todibo in the chat. So just to be very, very clear on the centre-back situation, it looks like Benjamin Pavard is the #1 target. It doesn't look like Manchester United will go for Jean-Claire Todibo. And the only way that Benjamin Pavard happens is if Harry Maguire leaves. So at the moment, Todibo has gone very, very quiet. And it does look like he is the backup option behind Benjamin Pavard, which I know some of you will agree with, some of you won't. But people giving Anthony abuse. Yeah. Leroy says, I can't see us smashing any team at the moment. Yeah, I hear you. I get it. Everybody's frustrated. I understand that. Yeah, as Jay says, Erik ten Hag wasn't happy with the performance. You have to remember that. It's not like Erik ten Hag has come out and said, you know, we played incredibly, we were so good. Like, he came out and gave them an absolute grilling. He did. And he even came out after the game, right? Erik ten Hag was speaking after the match and he says the following. He says, we have laid the foundations, but now we have to raise the bar, be better and improve the way of playing. We also need to strengthen the squad. So Erik ten Hag is literally crying out for signings. He's desperate to bring more people to Manchester United. He knows that the team that he has on the pitch last night is not good enough. You're not going to win a league title with that team. It's weak. The mentality isn't there. They were getting pushed off the ball every time they had a head-to-head. And for Erik ten Hag to come out after the game, after we've just beaten somebody at home in the first game of the season, and to say, we need to strengthen the squad. I mean, do you need to even say anything else? You know, it's a complete... it's obvious, isn't it? Somebody says, maybe not Liverpool, but how about Spurs or Barcelona or even Chelsea? We better sign Amrabat as soon as possible. Look, the only way that Amrabat doesn't come to Manchester United is if we don't put in a bid for him. Now, I know that's something that Michael Owen would say, but my point here is he wants to come to Manchester United. That's being widely reported. He's rejected Saudi Arabia. He's rejected Juventus. He rejected Liverpool. The only way he doesn't join is if Manchester United, for whatever stupid reason, don't put a bid in. And from what we're hearing today, what we spoke about earlier on the show, the bid is coming. So just keep up the faith. Somebody says Todibo will come next year as Lindelof will leave next season. Yeah, I think next season is the year where we actually go and get a proper centre-back. I don't think this season is the year for it. I think Benjamin Pavard is a versatile option. He plays right-back, centre-back. That's why Erik ten Hag wants him. He wants to give us more options in different positions. Whereas next season, I think we'll go all out for a world-class centre-back. And that would be my #1 priority. Jonathan says, would you take no more signings if it meant the Glazers were gone by January? Yes, 100%, mate. 100%. 100%. All I want is the Glazers gone. Like, if the Glazers go in 2 weeks, we can just focus on the January transfer window. Qatar, hopefully Qatar come in and just clear all of the people out of the club that we don't need. And then in January, we go and strengthen the squad. That's the priority here. That's what I'm thinking about in the back of my head at the moment. I'm just praying. I'm praying that the day that the transfer window closes, we get an announcement that Qatar have won the club. That is what I want. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I feel in my heart. Maybe that's me being stupid. I don't know, but that's what I really am hoping for. Lumen says, Kieran, after last night's performance, would you be happy with a point against Spurs? Yeah, I would. I would be happy with a point against Spurs. I would. As long as we don't lose against Spurs, I'll be happy at this point. I will. But I expect a reaction. I expect us to go to Spurs and put in a good performance and beat them. We were 2-0 up, weren't we, last season at half-time? I expect us to go out there and show the fans why they played for Manchester United, because last night they didn't. And I am expecting reaction. I know we didn't lose the game. I know we didn't draw the game. But I am expecting a reaction against Spurs. I really, really am. Jamie says, apparently the Glazers are 100% committed to a full sale with Sheikh Jassim. It'll be finalised soon. Bloomberg and Reuters will break the news first. Yeah, I hope so, yeah. I hope so, mate, I do. I do agree that they will get the club, but obviously at the moment, it's all just speculation, isn't it? Fred has just said, how good was Onana last night? Let's just take a minute to acknowledge that. Onana was unbelievable last night. I know some people will say, oh, he nearly gave away a penalty. But before that, Onana looked absolutely incredible. He was the man of the match for me. He saved us on so many occasions. His distribution was good. He made some really good saves. He commanded his box. Like, he was the real deal, and I'm really, really happy for him. He was one of the shining lights in that team last night. So big ups to Onana. You know, he did himself proud on that game. And it would have just been devastating, wouldn't it, if they'd have got a penalty in the last couple of minutes. It would have been so devastating. Where are you getting that from, Jamie? Let me know who's posted it, Jamie, and I'll have a look on Twitter. But obviously, Chris says Spurs couldn't even beat us with Harry Kane. They don't have a chance. Yeah, I mean, they don't have a striker, do they? They've got what's he called, Richarlison up front, and he's not great, is he? He's really not very good. So, people talking about the stock price in the chat. I mean, the amount of times that we've talked about the stock price. Oh god. Like, the stock price is not going up. It's just the same as it has been for months. It's always the same. At Brinks 2009. Oh, who the hell is that? Like, come on, guys. I know everybody wants the takeover to happen, but you've just got to be realistic sometimes. Like, Brinks 2009. Like, who is this person? Like, how many times has this person said that, you know, that the Qatar are going to win or whatever? Somebody says, sorry, but I can't have faith in the Glazers and their incompetent staff. We all watched the game against Wolves, and it was a massive disappointment, all because they didn't buy the players we needed. Yeah, I agree. I do agree. But rival fans will say we've spent money. We've spent 160, 170 million pounds this summer. The Glazers have invested money. Albeit it's not their own money, it's our money that we've got from the success of our club. But they have put money in this season, not enough. When you see Todd Bowley putting in $1 billion into Chelsea in one season, like, that's the kind of money we need. Because we need immediately to bring in 5, 6, 7 players. We do. Ralph Ragnick said it whenever he was here, didn't he? He said we need open heart surgery. Amnat says, Kieran, do you have any concrete news about ingoings? Please elaborate. So we've spoken about Amrabat already. So if anybody is joining late, please just go back to the beginning and you can find out all of the stuff about the ingoings and stuff. I mean, this is a good comment. Joe says, I was really hoping the same referees would be doing the game against Tottenham. Yeah, I hear you, mate. I do. Somebody saying apparently Harry Maguire has turned down 6 million from Manchester United. Yeah, at the end of the day, right at this moment, Manchester United will be negotiating with Maguire. They'll be trying to, you know, secure some sort of deal. Yeah. I'm just seeing a stat here. So since last season, right, Chelsea have spent more money on transfers than the whole of the La Liga combined. Absolutely mental. Somebody says, don't you think teams are making us play through Aaron Wan-Bissaka because he is not good on the ball like Shaw and Martinez? We went through Varane and Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Anthony a lot last night. Yeah, the right side of our team is quite weak, isn't it? Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Anthony just don't seem to link up very well. Whereas Luke Shaw and Rashford, when they're playing together, they look really, really good. Obviously, Garnacho and Luke Shaw, I don't know. I don't think that really worked that well last night. I think the game against Spurs on Saturday, we need to have Rashford on the left. I would put Anthony Martial up front, and I would put Sancho on the right. I think we need to change it up completely. I would go with that. We will, of course, do a match preview for that game a couple of days before. Let me know what would be your starting three for the game against Tottenham on Saturday. Let me know in the comment section, as I always love to see what you all think. We've got 10 minutes left of the show now. Do get some comments in, some questions in. Put the letter Q in front of your message and I will read out some before the show ends. We've got a couple of more bits of news to get into before we do that. And please do make sure to smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're 20 subscribers away from 12,800, so let's see if we can hit that by the end of the video today. Ryan says we need to get rid of Maguire or else he's going to cost us games again. Yeah, I hear you, mate. I do. We've spoke about Maguire at length tonight, though, haven't we? So, Lumen says, Kieran, have you been fortunate to have £1 million with you? I'm not sure what you mean there, mate. To be honest, but thanks for the question. Somebody says, if Pavard comes in, Ten Hag might not go for Frimpong next season. People talking about Maguire. Anybody who's joining late, just go back to the beginning of the video and you'll get all of the information you desire. Hendrick says United need to bring in one defender, one defensive midfielder, and Mohamed Kudus or Taremi. Otherwise, there won't be a top 4 finish. I hear you, mate. I do. I hear your frustration. I know everyone is frustrated today. What else have we got? Simon says Henderson, Maguire, and McTominay all staying. They're the 3 players that needed to go more than anybody, and they're staying. Shambles. Yeah. I thought all 3 of them would go. I did. I thought Maguire would go. I thought Dean Henderson would go. It's clearly not happening at the moment, is it? There is still time left in the window, though. Obviously, if Qatar goes to West Ham, then I do imagine... if Qatar goes to Manchester City, I do imagine that West Ham will then come back in for Scott McTominay because they'll have a load of money. They'll need to bring in reinforcements in the midfield area. So yeah, I do imagine that they will then come back in for them. I will. Right, let's have a read of a couple of your questions. Kiki says, when is Kobe Mainoo coming back? So Kobe is apparently going to be back mid-September, so in about a month's time. Kobe Mainoo would have been better than what we played in midfield last night, so hopefully he comes back soon. Hopefully he comes back fully fit and able to kind of crack on, because I have massive expectations for him. Yeah, somebody in the chat saying, yeah, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but apparently Salah and Alisson, there's been bids for Salah and Alisson to go to Saudi Arabia. Crazy. People talking about Rasmus Højlund. It looks like Rasmus Højlund will be back in time for the Arsenal game, which is in about 3 weeks. Yeah, about 3 weeks' time. Somebody says, don't you think that Ben Jacobs should be judged after the takeover and not before? Yeah, fair enough, fair point. Somebody says, last season, I guess Bruno played as deep playmaker and did well. Why not try it again this season? Yeah. I think what happened last night is we tried to play 4-3-3. We tried to play more attacking and we got absolutely destroyed. All of last season, we played 4-2-3-1. It was way more defensive. Remember that. 4-2-3-1 is ultimately 6 defenders. Whereas last night, it was 4-3-3. It was so attacking and we got destroyed. Right. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. It's been an absolutely amazing stream. Big ups to everybody who's joined us this evening. We will, of course, be back tomorrow morning with your morning show at 8 a.m. UK time. Before you leave, please do smash a like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks to everybody who has contributed to the community today. Yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Have a lovely evening and peace out.